Okay, I've just started the camera. So, young man, no more swearing. Okay.
Brakes.
So, before we go here, we have to get a clearance first. Do you remember how do you remember the radio calls? Who did the radio last time? You or me?
Q2 1580, backtrack approved.
Did you do any of the radio calls?
Yeah.
Backtrack approved. Q2 1580.
So we have to get a clearance first. We're going to go northbound over water, not above 1000. So the first call is Sunshine Coast. Well, we actually have to get the 8s first. So let's get the 8s first. So dial up that. What frequency is the 8s?
119.8.
Okay, dial that up. 119 800, and then bring that live.
H1020 on first contact with Sunshine Coast ground or tower, notify receipt of Charlie.
Information Charlie.
Sunshine Coast terminal information Charlie, runway 18, wind 130 degrees 10 knots, visibility greater than 10 kilometres, clouds scattered 3,200, temperature 21, QNH 1020 on first contact with Sunshine Coast ground or tower, notify receipt of Charlie.
Okay, so it's information Charlie.
Can you advise your bay number?
So do you remember the radio call?
1580, we're trying to get hold of
No.
So it's Sunshine Coast ground, Sling 8667 for departure. So don't do that yet.
1580, they haven't.
Do you want me to do the call this time?
Okay.
Okay, so just remember, you've got the script for the radio work, haven't you? Okay. The first thing we have to do is just tell them what you want to do. Yeah, Sunshine Coast ground, Sling 8667 for departure.
Sling 8667, Sunshine Coast ground.
Sling 8667 is at the Aero Club, dual information Charlie. Request northbound departure over water, not above 1,500.
Sling 8667, cleared over water, northbound, not above 1,500. Report run up to complete for taxi.
Cleared northbound over water, not above 1,500. Wilco, Sling 8667. So we've got a clearance now. We can't taxi at all. We've just got a clearance.
Q2 1580.
So now we run through these here.
Brakes set park.
Yep.
Bravo 2, no call.
Canopy as required.
We'll leave that open for now.
Oil temp green.
Which one's the oil temperature?
That one.
Yep.
Oil pressure green.
Which one's that one? Yep.
Water temp green.
Which one's that one?
Coolant.
Yep, that's the one.
Fuel selector fullest tank.
So now we always have to change tanks now. So change tank to the other side.
Throttle 4,000 RPM.
So this is the mag check, so bring the throttle 4,000. And as we come close to 4,000, make sure we're not sliding forward on the brakes. That's close enough. So one mag off at a time.
Yes.
Yeah, so turn one off. Have a look here, as you do. No more than 300 drop, that's fine.
7, wind 140 degrees.
Wait for it to recover, then turn the other one off.
Clear to land.
Again, we're watching this, no more than 300 drop. And turn back on. That's it.
Throttle idle and stable.
All the way back.
And throttle 2,000
And just a
RPM.
millimetre of forward, just a small amount, there we go. It's very sensitive. Okay, we can do the before takeoff checks right here now.
Trim, check and set.
So we get the trim moving, so just press one button and hold it until the trim moves. See it's moving there? Now get it centralised. Just roughly. It's not an exact science there, just roughly, yep. Okay.
Altimeters set confirm QNH.
So we've set the QNH to 1020, that's fine.
Light instruments check and set.
All the temps and pressures are okay. All the instruments are okay.
Flaps cycle.
All the way down. And then wait till they're down. Look both sides. And then all the way back up again. That's it. Now the next checks are the holding point checks, but we have to get a clearance to taxi for that. So we have to ask for that clearance. You can put the book aside for now. But I'll just ask for the clearance. This is on the script that you've got that I'll get you to do a bit more practice on. So, Sling 8667, run is complete, request taxi.
Sling 8667, taxi to holding point Bravo 1, runway 18.
Taxi to holding point Bravo 1, runway 18, Sling 8667. Brakes off now. Look around to the side, make sure number's coming up. Feet on the pedals. We've got to steer the aircraft now, so move it away from that aircraft there. Onto the yellow line for me. and hand on throttle, and also you've got the throttle and the brake here, so you'll need to sort of flip between one or the other depending on how fast we're going. Just don't remember that before you pull the brake on, make sure the throttle's all the way back. There we go, and around we go. Follow the yellow line. Right. And round here to the right. Now, what taxiway are we on now?
Mike?
Yes, this is taxiway Mike. It runs on to which taxiway here?
Lima?
Nope.
Velocity 1507.
There is actually no taxiway Lima anymore. So this is taxiway Echo. So Mike runs on to Echo. So this is now Echo.
Traffic Sunshine Coast information Delta. The changes: wind 140 degrees, 12 knots, crosswind 8, clouds scattered 3,500, temperature, correction, QNH 1019.
1019, so we just changed that. That's okay. Watch out front, make sure we don't run off the thing. That's it. So this is Echo, and
Yep.
it runs on to?
Bravo.
Nope.
No.
Delta. So
Delta.
Delta, yep. So taxiway. So B1 stands for Bravo 1, that's the holding point over there. So yeah, Echo runs on to Delta. And we've got to go to Bravo 1. So this is Bravo 1 here.
1507 taxi via Bravo 2, no requirements on ground.
So we're going to come around to the right first, and then we're going to swing around that yellow line in the middle. So we've got to straighten our rudders before we come to that line, so keep coming around. Now straighten the rudder pedals, and stop before we get to this line. This is a hold line, we can't go past it. Full brakes. Now, nice and hard, put the brakes on. Okay, grab the book.
Canopy check lock.
So we need to close that, push it all the way there and all the way around, and make sure that you can see that it's gone all the way around, which is fine.
Fuel pump on.
Yep.
Transponder alt.
All the way around to ALT. That's it. Yep. Takeoff station, we don't need that today.
Flaps stage 1.
Yep, stage 1 for flaps.
Lights all on. Controls check full free and correct.
Yep, so full back, full side. As you go side to side, look at the ailerons, make sure they're moving correctly, which they are.
Radio as required.
So change for it, just make that standby. Put the book away. Sunshine Coast Tower, Sling 8667 is ready.
Sling 8667, Sunshine Coast Tower, backtrack required, length line up runway 18.
Backtrack line up, runway 18, Sling 8667. Brakes off. And away we go. So we'll go round to the left here, and backtracking runway 18. Right into the middle, follow the yellow line until we get to the centre line. Do you remember how far back we go?
To the old way.
Yeah, old Alpha. Yep. It's a bit warm in here. So the old Alpha is that next, bit further up, is that next sort of old taxiway that's been decommissioned now.
Sunshine Coast Ground, New Zealand 768.
New Zealand 768, Sunshine Coast Ground.
G'day, are we too early for clearance?
Never too early for that. Cleared Auckland via Mulo, flight planned route, climb to 4,000.
So we'll
Squawk 1131.
turn around roughly where that old Alpha is. Anywhere here is fine, it doesn't have to be exact.
Sorry, minus steps on you, New Zealand 768, Delta 1019, Airways Auckland 5370.
So slow down a bit.
Cleared Auckland via Mulo, flight planned route, climb to
around we go.
4,000. Squawk 1131.
Always make sure we're not too fast. Right, can you push that more?
Cleared Auckland
That's
via
it.
Mulo, flight planned route,
A bit of throttle if we stop, put a bit of throttle on to keep us coming round.
Sling 8667, cleared for takeoff, make left turn.
Clear for takeoff, left turn, Sling 8667. So just get ourselves lined up on the centre line. All good? Happy with that?
Yep.
Okay, whenever you're ready, full power. Use the rudders to hold us, and hold the throttle there. Use the rudders to keep us on the centre line. 45 knots. Just lift the nose off the ground so it's just off the ground. Lift that nose up, lift it up, and hold it there. The aircraft will fly off on its own. Don't let the nose get away from us, so push that down a little bit. There we go. Keep the wings level. Okay, raise the nose just a bit above the horizon there. Let's hold it there. We're just basically trying to get our best rate of climb, 70 knots. Coming up to 300 feet as we get close. That's it. Now flaps away. And eyes forward all the time. Bit more right rudder just to keep that ball in the middle. There we go. And keep the climb going. Looking pretty good. Just keep a nice loose control. Don't sort of rip the controls too tight. Just nice and loose. There we go. And we're over 500 feet. Before we turn, we have to check. So check to the right, centre, left behind, eyes forward in the turn, a gentle bank to the left, no more than 15 degrees. That's about a 15-degree angle of bank turn. Climbing turns are always shallow. And just keep it going around. Lift that nose just a little bit. There we go. Hold it there. And just keep the turn going. So keep that turn going around. Our clearance is over water northbound. Okay. Anybody in there? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking but nobody's answering.
8667, report leaving controlled airspace.
Wilco, Sling 8667. That's right, I was talking but you weren't answering. You can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, just ignoring me. Alright, I'm not your parents. You're supposed to ignore them, not me. Okay, so we're just going to keep on going around. Our clearance is over water. So we'll establish ourselves over water. So don't get fixated too much. Keep your head moving around. Remember attitude, lookout, performance. Attitude looks about right. Look around. Beautiful day. And check our performance. So we're supposed to be 7 hours, but that's okay. Don't worry about it now because we're about to level off 1,500 feet. So I'd like you to lower the nose to straight level a bit more. Lower that nose more. So straight level is about push forward a bit more. About there. Bring the power back and listen. Push that nose forward. You've got to push that nose forward. No, forward more. We're out of trim, I think that's the problem. Okay, there we go. So what I want you to do is not go higher than 1,500 feet, okay? Come around slightly this way. We're still too much power, that's part of the problem. There we go. So keep your hand on the throttle. That's about right. So now what we've got to do is just establish straight and level. So get the attitude set first before we trim. So attitude, once you're happy with the attitude, trim for that. How's that feel now?
Good.
Okay, so if you were to let go of the control column, that's not too bad. We just trim forward a fraction. Not much, it doesn't take much. What we don't want to do is over trim. We don't want to be playing around with it all the time. Just take your finger off the trim button for a second. That way I don't think you just currently go back. So just let go of the controls. Yeah, that's pretty much, look, that's the reality is that's about as close as you'll get. It's never going to be perfect. The trim is not designed as an autopilot or to fly the airplane. Now, attitude, lookout, performance. What performance instruments we were looking at now?
Vertical speed and altitude.
Yeah, we want to make sure we don't go over 1,500 and we're not climbing or descending. So, attitude, that looks about right to me. Look out, because it's a wonderful day. And check our performance. And we've got the right sort of RPM that's close enough to being right. So there you go. Now, just to recap on what we did last time, or a couple lessons ago, if I said, Harry, this is all well and good, but we're going too fast, I want to slow down, but I want to hold this altitude. Can you do that for me? I want you to slow down to about 80 knots, but hold 1,500 feet. Yep, so we adjust the power first. Make sure we don't go over land, by the way, just come slightly out to the right. So we adjust the power. You can bring the power back a bit more, that's why we're not really slowing down much. Bring the power back a bit more. And now wait. Now raise the nose just a little bit. And retrim. Now these are all these instruments now are our performance instruments because we want to hold our height, so bring the nose up a little bit, bring the nose up a bit more, and retrim back. Trim is really important when you're changing speeds, particularly when you're going slower, trimming back. So now we're going at 80 knots, and for all intents and purposes we are straight level. So this reduced attitude, this power setting, gives us this performance, 80 knots or thereabouts, and guess what? We're still straight level.
Yep.
Cool? You happy with that?
Yeah.
Alright. I want you now to resume normal cruise. Just be careful though, we're trimmed back for this, which means the nose is going to want to go up. Don't trim forward now, I want you to trim last. Okay, so get power to cruise, so to 5,000, so bring the power forward, but hold the nose down. So you'll have to push forward as you do it. So bring the power forward, that's about right. Push the nose down a bit, and trim down. Just trim back to where we were before. And then recheck the RPM if that's a bit too high. We might have overcooked that just a fraction, bring it back. Bring it back a bit more. There we go. And attitude, look out, check our performance. We're climbing just a little bit, so pop that nose down just a fraction. All looking pretty good. Cool. Good to be back in the air again.
Yep.
Yeah, we had some windy weather last week. Jesus.
Yeah.
It was not good weather at all. Not only was it a howling westerly wind, it was really, really bumpy. The turbulence was like a washing machine.
Must be 1508, Sunshine Coast.
Mainly because with the wind coming from the west this direction, it starts to rotate around those hills over there and comes along here and it just rolls.
120 degrees at 12 knots.
So just do your attitude lookout performance checks from time to time. You can never really do those too often. And the idea about doing those is that you pick up any trends. Anything that's changing or not quite right, you get to pick up on those. Stay over water at all times, make sure we don't veer over land. Watch it that we're climbing just a little bit, so attitude's a bit high, so just drop that down and hold and wait to see if that fixes itself. And while you're doing that, you can do an attitude lookout performance check. And again, as long as we identify what's not quite right and put in some kind of action to fix it, that's all we need to do. I'll dial up the area frequency for 1267. And make sure we don't cross over the coastline. Our clearance is to stay over water. That's actually quite important. Where's the edge of the control zone, do you know?
At the bottom of Lake Wyber.
Yep. So the radio call, you can do that. It'll simply be Sling 8667 is clear of the zone, and then they'll come back to you with a frequency change approval, and you just read your tail number back again. So you can do that now, Sling 8667 and clear of the zone.
Sling 8667, clear of the zone.
Sling 8667, frequency change approved, okay.
Sling 8667.
That's it, that's all there is to it. Okay, so can you head towards the curved beach over there, which is Tiwa? So we'll just cross over the coastline. As we cross over the coastline, I want you to get us into a cruise climb. So what's our performance criteria for a cruise climb?
Full throttle and 300 RPM.
300
No,
RPM?
300 vertical.
About 500.
500.
Roughly. It's not an exact science. So full power, always power first, then attitude. So it's not a very high climb, so we don't have to lift the nose too high. And don't worry about if it's a bit more than 500 feet. It's really not that important. It's more important that we're going at a cruising speed, so we're still going forward fairly fast. So don't get stuck too much on if it's 500 or 600 or whatever. It will be what it will be. There'll be some places where you catch a bit of sort of thermal activity where the air is rising, and all of a sudden you're going to be going at a higher rate of climb. If I said to you, can you transition us to a best rate of climb, what would you do? Just tell me.
Increase the angle of attack so the speed is 70 knots.
Okay, let's do that. So we can't change the throttle, that stays where it is. We just lift the nose up. Now we're not going to fly through the cloud here, so just come, as we're climbing, come slightly gently round to the right there. There we go. And level the wings again. But keep that climb going. Keep the climb going, so keep that nose up. And to transition to base, and don't forget, trim if you need to, don't worry if you don't. If it's all good, just leave it as is. And just hold that attitude, pause, allow the aircraft to settle into the new configuration. So you've got to give it time. There we go, we're about 78 knots. That'll do for now, we'll just keep on climbing at this for the moment. So to change your performance criteria in a climb from one climb to another, it's all about changing attitude, that's all it is, because the power is full.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll level up at 3,000 feet. So what we'll do is as we come close to 3,000 feet, it's attitude first, pause, power, listen, and then and only then trim. So coming up close to 3,000 feet. So attitude's a straight level, so push that nose forward. And you may have to push against the trim. No, don't trim yet. The attitude first. Even if you're pushing against it, now power and listen. You hear that change there?
Yep.
Okay, and now trim if you need to. So always do the trim last. And then we have a quick look. We can bring the power back even a bit more. Stay well clear of the clouds. Just come around to the right hand side here for a moment. And then we'll start our turning. Listen. We'll just get clear of these clouds. We can't fly through clouds, so you've always got to fly around them. Why don't we fly through clouds? They look so nice and fluffy.
Because you can't see in them.
Yeah, and what do we fly by?
BFR.
Yep, and the horizon. We can't see our primary reference if we're in cloud. We have no longer that resource. These instruments are not IFR rated, and neither are the pilots. Cool. There's TWAR over there.
Yeah.
I'll just do a quick radio call. I'll put Brisbane Centre on standby in case we have an emergency. We always want to call on a station that somebody's listening to. Just sort of head over to TWAR in general, that little airstrip with all those buildings at the end of the road. Hold our height. Yeah, traffic TWAR, Sling 8667, just southeast of TWAR airstrip, 3,000 feet. Conducting airwork over TWAR for the next 20 minutes. Traffic TWAR. Because we're outside controlled airspace, just have a chat with anybody else. If anybody else is in the area, they'll talk to us. But there's also other places on this frequency, Gympie for example, and lots of other different places, Fraser Island. So all I'll do is I'll just demonstrate.
TWAR traffic just to 216 overhead airfield descending on traffic size 14 for full stop. TWAR.
Aircraft just called the TWAR. Your current altitude, please.
Just to 216.
Say again, sorry, altitude?
Oh, sorry, descending through 500.
Cover that. We're just southeast of the field at just on climb to 3,000 feet from 2,800. We'll be well clear. Sling 8667. Just go up a little bit. I think he said 2,500. He's got a very bad radio. We'll keep an eye out.
TWAR traffic microlight 348 is base 414 full stop. TWAR traffic.
He's down there. He's fine. All right, I have control.
You have control.
So what I'm going to do at the moment is I'm just going to walk you through how we manage a turn, okay? So we're just having a quick look around, make sure I'm going to sort of point up north. Always got to be careful with T1, there's other planes around this area, so always got to be careful to make sure that if there's other people calling that we talk to them and find out what they're doing. So I'm just going to level off, pointing north at the moment. So what was our work cycle for a turn?
Bank, balance, back pressure.
So we bank with the ailerons, we balance with the rudder, and we back pressure with the control column. Now in a turn to the left, the other thing with balance, and I should have mentioned that before, you don't have to use much rudder for a left-hand turn, but you need more for a right-hand turn. Why would that be?
Because the propeller.
Yeah, the slipstream. So basically, I'll just, so I have control. I'm just going to do a nice gentle turn round to the right. Before we do a lookout. So if we're turning to the right, we check the left, ahead, to the right, and behind. Okay, eyes forward in the turn. So now we're eyes forward. We bank. We're just going to go 30 degrees. We balance with a little bit of rudder, so the ball's in the middle.
Traffic just to 216.
There's practically no back pressure needed. Practically no back pressure needed because it's a very well balanced aircraft. So bank balance. We only need back pressure if the nose changes position. 3 3,000 feet. We just attitude, look out into the turn, check out